Tech Talk Tip number 66. What are podcasts and how can I listen to them? Podcasts have surged in popularity as a versatile and accessible form of digital media, offering a wide range of content on topics spanning from entertainment and education to news and storytelling. Whether you're commuting, exercising, or relaxing at home, podcasts provide an engaging and informative way to consume audio content tailored to your interests. Here we'll delve into what podcasts are, how they work, and how you can listen to them on various devices. Understanding podcasts. Podcasts are audio programs distributed digitally through the internet, typically available in episodic format. Similar to radio shows, podcasts cover a diverse array of topics, including interviews, storytelling, news, comedy, true crime, self-improvement, and more. Podcast episodes can range from a few minutes to several hours in length, offering flexibility for listeners to consume content at their own pace. How to listen to podcasts. Listening to podcasts is easy and convenient, requiring only a compatible device and access to the internet. Here's how to listen to podcasts. Smartphone or tablet. Most smartphones and tablets come pre-installed with podcast apps, such as Apple Podcasts, iOS, or Google Podcasts, Android. Open the podcast app of your device and browse or search for podcasts using keywords or categories. Once you find a podcast you're interested in, tap on its title to view episodes and start listening. You can subscribe to podcasts to receive notifications or updates when new episodes are released, and download episodes for offline listening. Computer or laptop. You can listen to podcasts directly through web browsers on your computer or laptop by visiting podcast hosting platforms or websites. Alternately, you can use podcast apps or software available for desktop computers, such as iTunes for Mac OS or Spotify for Windows and Mac OS. Search for podcasts, browse episodes, and listen to your favorite shows directly from your computer's browser or podcast app. Smart speakers and home assistants. Smart speakers and home assistants such as Amazon Echo, Alexa, or Google Home also support podcast playback. Simply use your voice commands to ask your smart speaker to play specific podcasts or episodes by name. You can control playback, adjust volume, and skip episodes using voice commands or device's companion app. Discovering podcasts. With thousands of podcasts available across various genres and topics, discovering new content can be an exciting and enriching experience. Here are some tips for finding podcasts. Explore recommendations. Ask friends, families, or colleagues for podcast recommendations based on your interests or hobbies. Follow social media accounts, online communities, or podcast recommendation websites for curated lists and suggestions. Browse podcast directories. Use podcast directories or platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or Beanpod to explore popular podcasts by category or genre. Browse featured or trending podcasts search for specific topics or keywords to find podcasts that align with your preferences. listen to podcast reviews and previews. Many podcasts offer previews or trailers that provide insights into the content, style, and format of the show. Read reviews or listen to sample episodes to gauge whether a podcast resonates with your interests and preferences before subscribing. Podcasts offer a rich and diverse landscape of audio content for listeners to explore and enjoy, providing a convenient and flexible way to stay informed, entertained, and inspired. By understanding what podcasts are, how to listen to them on various devices, and how to discover new content, you can unlock a world of knowledge, storytelling, and entertainment tailored to your interests and preferences. Whether you're a podcast aficionado or new to the medium, there's something for everyone in the ever-expanding universe of podcasts. Happy listening.